Hey, did you hear about the new episode tonight?
One new episode.
The new episode about Say and Wicksell.
Yes, I can't wait. Say and Wicksell discussing their theories is going to be epic.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this all week. What are you hoping they'll talk about?
I am really curious about Saint's ideas on entrepreneurship and how it impacts economic growth. And Wick's thoughts on interest rates for sure. It's going to be interesting.
Nice choices. I'm eager to hear about Say's views on markets and the role of supply and demand, and Wicksell's take on monetary theory.
It's going to be mind blowing.
For sure. Well, I'll talk to you later, Canes.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our special interview segment, where we'll dive into the economic philosophy of two influential figures, Jean-Baptiste and Wicksell. Today, we'll explore their theories, their impact, and how their ideas still resonate in our economy. I'm Gabriela, and I'll be playing as Jean-Baptiste.
I'm Gustav. I will be playing Knut Wicksell.
Hello, my name is Jean-Baptiste. I was born in Lyon, France in 1767. I have developed a profound interest in economics and business from a young age, and I'm excited to share some of my work here today.
Hello, my name is Knut Wicksell. I was born in Stockholm, Sweden in 1851. My studies within economics included, but it's not limited to, monetary theory, banking and credit, and I invented the concept of natural rate of interest. Jean-Baptiste Say. So you famously stated in Say's law that supply creates its own demand. Could you elaborate on this concept and its relevance today?
Certainly. Say's law essentially argues that supply, meaning the production of goods, which also includes services, generates income, which in turn creates the demands for those goods and services. What this means is that the act of producing goods and services generates the income required to purchase other goods and services, therefore ensuring the overall balance of supply and demand. Supply, therefore, will always equal demand, because if we increase our production, wages will also increases, which in turn causes a rise in the demand for goods and services. So the ability to demand something is financed by supplying a different good and services. In other words, a person's ability to purchase goods or services depend on their ability to produce and generate income as well. Supply creates demand. Its own demand means that as long as goods and services are produced, there will be corresponding demand for them, assuming that markets are allowed to function freely without significant barriers. So each time output is produced and sold, the revenues represent an equivalent amount of income generated in the market. This income allows the owner to purchase the amount of output that was produced, and the economy automatically adjusts as long as there is consumption of what is produced. So supply, therefore, is the key to economic growth and prosperity. Wicksell, you introduced the concept of natural rate of interest. Could you explain what this means and its significance in monetary theory?
Yes, of course. So when an economy has a natural rate of interest, meaning when return on investments equals return on savings, it's in a stable condition. In other words, investment and savings are in balance and inflation is stable as well. The market rate of interest, however, fluctuates depending on other factors such as monetary policies, expected inflation, as well as other factors that can affect the economy. So once the market rate is equal to the natural interest rate, there is little, if any, inflation or deflation in the economy. What's interesting about the concept of the natural rate of interest is that when an economy has a natural rate of interest, the economy is neither stimulated nor constrained. The economy is simply operating at its potential output level without causing inflation or deflation. For example, banks can compare the natural rate of interest to the market rate and determine whether the current monetary policy is going to help the economy or slow it down. Furthermore, I argue that banks should strive to set their interest rate in line with the natural rate of interest to achieve price stability. If banks set their interest rate below the natural rate of interest, it will stimulate spending and borrowing, will lead to inflation. And if banks sets the interest rate above the natural rate of interest, it's going to discourage borrowing and spending, which can lead to deflation and stagnation in the economy. Of course, in the event an economy is doing poorly, the same decision by banks is obviously to stimulate the economy, and that can include setting their interest rate below the natural rate to encourage spending.
Okay.
So speaking of entrepreneurship, say you also emphasize the crucial role in the economy. How do you view entrepreneurship, and why is it important?
Yeah, entrepreneurship is the driving force behind innovation and economic process. Entrepreneurs are individuals who allocate resources and take risk in pursuit of profits, and therefore drive economic activity and growth. Entrepreneurs identify opportunities and take risk, as well as mobilize resources to create value for the economy. And the idea of my writing is to lay the groundwork for understanding the significance of entrepreneurship in our economy. Entrepreneurship is a vital component of the market economy, for it helps the coordination of resources and the production of goods and services. And so I believe that a dynamic entrepreneurial class is essential for economic developments, because by taking risk and identifying opportunities, entrepreneurs contribute to innovation and job creation, as well as wealth generation for the economy.
Yep.
Wicksell, what is your philosophy regarding monetary theory?
So I argue that banks should set the monetary interest rate close to the natural rate of interest. I talk about the cumulative process, which is when the market rate deviates from the natural rate, causing prices to go up. The correct amount of money supplied by banks, according to my belief, is when the amount supplied creates a balance between investments and savings. Along with money supplied, interest rates needs, of course, to be taken into consideration. Banks should strive to set the interest rate close to the natural rate of interest to promote economic stability. My approach to achieve stability of prices is to use interest rates. Banks can affect the economy by setting interest rate close to the natural rate of interest. But when banks have excessive funds, they increase the quantity of loans and decrease their interest to encourage borrowing. The interest rate set by the banks fall short of the natural rate of interest. So savings declined while demand for consumer goods increases, and the process stops only when bank realizes their funds are scarce, and thus they increase interest rate again closer to the natural rate of interest. So from my perspective, banks need to be careful when determining the interest rate, so it fosters a healthy economic environment as well as price stability. So say you're a supporter of laissez-faire economics. How do you argue for free markets, and what are its implications?
A free market economy tends toward full employment and without the need for government intervention, and allowing for a free market and limited government intervention in economic affair is very important, because a world where individuals act in their own self-interest within competitive markets naturally leads to optimal outcomes for society as a whole. So free markets unhindered by government intervention are the most efficient way to allocate resources and promote prosperity everywhere in our economy and in the market. I think that government's interference, such as tariffs or regulations, distorts market signals and hinders economic growth. So instead, I would continue to advocate for minimal government involvements, allowing markets to self-regulate and individuals to pursue their self-interest to contribute to society as a whole. Wicksell, you wrote on the role of bank and credits in the economy. Could you elaborate for us on what that looks like?
Yeah, so I discussed the role of banks throughout my works. I argue that banks allocate credit in the economy and that banks have an important role in promoting economic growth. For example, banks' goal should be to invest money from savings into productive investments and thus growing the economy. I also highlight the role that banks have in the sense that they determine the interest rate. As we have discussed on prior topics, banks should, according to my belief, strive to set the interest rate close to the natural rate of interest. Therefore, I warn for the creation of excessive credit, which can cause inflation and overall financial instability. I also studied credit cycles and how that affects the economy. Here again, I mentioned banks and their important role in the economy. Banks distribute credit by issuing loans, and banks can steer which way the economy is going by either distributing lots of credits or by tightening the amount of credit available to borrowers. So from my perspective, it's banks have an important role because I feel like the economy is kind of it's determined by their agenda and what they want to achieve in the current market state. So I think they need to be careful when they determine interest rate so we get a sustainable economic environment.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And that concludes everything for our interview today.
Thank you for watching.